Hey everyone, it's Miss Holtz in the library. Today we're going to talk about citing your sources. And what that basically means is that you need to give credit for all of the research that you have completed. So it's not optional, it's something that we all have to do. And so what are the expectations? We're going to ask you guys to use a specific style called MLA for citing your resources. And we're going to ask you to create a works cited page or a slide for your presentation, and then also to include in-text references. And we're going to talk about what each one of those means and how you can do it. So works cited page is really just a list of all of the resources you have used for your research. So that includes any websites you've used, any databases you've used. If you've done like an interview with somebody, that would include that. All of your images, which we're going to talk about next week a little bit. So anything that you have gathered, you are going to put on this works cited page. And when you create your works cited page, it needs to be alphabetical, and we'll explain that a little bit more. And you're going to just list them all together. And so when you finish, it's going to look a little bit like this. Okay, so alphabetical listing of everything that you have used for your research. This is kind of the detailed part of it, which we're going to use MyBib to create your citations. Or if you're using a database, last week we talked about how you could just copy and paste the citation, which is really easy to do. But I do want you to be aware of what's usually included in a citation. So what we usually include is the author's last name and then their first name. If there's no author, like you can't find an individual author's name, then we just go straight to the title of the article, the website name, then the day, month, and year it was published. Sometimes you only find the year, and that's okay. And then the URL, which is really the website address, the www dot blah, blah, blah. Okay, so here's kind of an example of what that looks like. So that was your works cited page. An in-text reference is something that you are including, I know, in your infographic and maybe in some of your other elements of your research. And anytime that you are paraphrasing or putting a quotation in, you need to tell us, hey, this is the site that I got that piece of information from. And the way we identify that is we put your author's last name or the first word of the title of your article in parentheses. And we usually put that at the end of your sentence or the end of your quotation or the end of your statement. That just tells whoever's looking at your infographic or looking at your research that this is the source you got that piece of information from. So either the last name of the author or the first word of the title of the source if there's no author given. For example, if I put in a sentence that Martin Luther King Jr.'s original birth name was Michael, in parentheses, I'm putting the word Klein because that is, and you can see right below that, that is the author of the article I read that told me that piece of information. Which, by the way, that is a true informational fact. I did not know that until I was doing a little bit of research. So that's something I did not know. I found it in a piece of research. Now I'm identifying in the sentence where I found that information from. And so anytime you do an in-text citation, it's going to match the first word on your works cited page. So whoever's looking at your research can quickly go and be like, oh, okay, this is the article, or this is the website, or this is the book that this person used in order to find this information. Okay. So as I mentioned a few minutes ago, we are going to use MyBib to create your citations. The difficult part about using MyBib is you have to check the details. You have to check because a lot of times it's just a little robot thing, right? And so it's not going to get everything correct 100% of the time. So you need to look at the information it collects and see if there's anything missing, and then go into your website or whatever resource you're using to see what that missing information is. Okay. When you get all your information collected, you can collect it all in MyBib, all of your citations, and then export that to a Google Doc or a Google slide or wherever you're going to be presenting your works cited page. Okay. So a couple things I want to point out. I did a search trying to find out about Greta Thunberg and the impact that she's made on climate change. And when I did a Google search, this little piece of information showed up at the top of my Google search page. I cannot click my MyBib extension to get a citation for this because this is Google. It's not the actual source of information. Okay, so I want to point that again. So this little paragraph actually comes from this website where it says weforum.org. What I would need to do to get my citation, and maybe even to go to the source to get more information, is to go ahead and click on that website. And then from there, I'll be able to cite my source. So that's what I did. I clicked on the website. It actually highlights that information that was at the top of that Google page. Then I've got more information if I need it for my research project. But right now, I clicked my MyBib extension, which is up here in our toolbar, and it created my citation for me. And I know you guys have used MyBib before. You do want to make sure that it's set for MLA 8, which is the newest version. If it's not, you can click this Change Style button. This is the citation that it creates, and then here's your in-text citation. So it actually creates the in-text citation for you. You just got to double check that everything is correct. And when I looked at this information, I do see here's the author, here's the title of the article, there's my website, World Economic Forum, there's the date, and then here is the URL or the website address. So everything is okay on that one. Right. Sorry, that one's a little bit closer. Okay, but if something was missing, then let me hit the back button here for a second. I can go in here to this edit button and I can fill in any information that is missing. So you can always go to the edit button just to double check that all of these fields are filled in. The only thing that can be left blank is the author of a website. Okay, I'm going to repeat that one more time. The only thing that can be left blank is the author of a website, because sometimes there is no individual author. Sometimes you'll just use the title, but you always have to have a title. You always have to have a website name. They have to have a date published and a website URL. Okay. If any of these bottom pieces are missing, you have to go into the website and look and try to find that information. Usually a date you can find at the very bottom of a page. The title is usually pretty obvious because it's the title of the web page. The website name is sometimes in the website address, or again by the bottom where the date is located. Okay, so here's an example that when I created my MyBib citation for this, there was a problem. Okay, and when I'm looking at this, at first glance, it may not look really obvious. But what I first noticed is the in-text citation is actually 2 words on here. That is incorrect. It should never be 2 words. It's always either just the last name of the author or the first word of the title. So when I looked at this, I realized the author's name is messed up on here. And here's the author's name right here. So the format, it should be formatted Haynes, Suyin. And I think sometimes some of the names MyBib will mess up. So what I need to do then in that case is go in and edit it, hit the edit button, and then change these around. So it's Haynes and then Suyin is the first name. Okay, so let's just double check everybody has MyBib installed. If you don't, you'll need to go to your apps and install it. But once you have it installed, then it should show up in your extensions button up here. I just clicked it and it actually says you can't cite this because it's just a Google page. Here's where you could change the style. Some of you guys maybe have an older version, MLA 7. If you do, go ahead and click MLA 8 to get it updated. Okay, and I'm going to do just one quick search here to kind of give you guys a little bit more information. So this page looks familiar. I'm going to click on this article, and then let's say I decide I'm going to use this. I'm going to go up here and cite it. And it's going to create the citation. And then just to double check everything, I'm going to look. Okay, so it does have the author's name correct, the title, the website name, the date, everything is correct. Okay, so if I'm going to use this as a resource, so I'm getting information from it, I'm going to go ahead and click Save to Project. You can click all of your citations here, and it'll save them for you. And then once you're done with all of your website citations, you can copy and paste this into a notes-taking page or a Word document. Then you can also add in your database links. Okay, you can name this if you want. Like if I wanted to name this, you know, making a difference project or whatever the name of your project is. And then when I continue to add more citations to it, Here's another one I'm going to take a look at. Again, you would need to verify these and make sure these are reputable websites. BBC is a pretty well-known news organization. So this one does not actually have an author name on it. And before I go ahead and save it, I'm just going to take a quick look and make sure I do not see an author name. Generally, if you're looking for an author, it's going to be at the top. Like you can see, here's a date up here, here's the title, or sometimes it's going to be at the end of an article. This one does not have an author that I can see of. Okay, and then if you cannot find like the publisher of the website, usually down here by the copyright date, it says BBC. If you're looking for that information, if it's missing, then go to the very bottom by the copyright symbol, and that will usually help you find it. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and save this, but I do want to point out that the in-text citation on this one is wrong. If I was going to use this resource and cite it in text, it would just be the word to, because you're only using the first word. So just be aware that it's not 100% correct all the time. And I'm going to add it to my list, and you can see it's highlighted it and it says web page author. It's alerting you to the fact that this is missing. We did take a look. I don't see an author, so we're just going to go ahead and leave it blank. Remember, that's the only piece that you can leave blank. Okay. Sorry, we're going to go back here one more time. And then once you have all of your research completed and you're getting ready to work on your works cited page, you can actually download this, save it as Word or Google Drive is probably what I would do. It'll create a Word document for you, a Google Drive document for you, and then you can go in and add any other additional resources like from databases that you have used. But what I want to let you guys know is it will put this in alphabetical order. You're going to have to go in and kind of cut and paste and make sure it's in alphabetical order when you add any additional new resources. All right, so that's just a really quick overview about what you need to do to create a citation, how to do an in-text citation, how to download that, and then what to look for that missing piece of information. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do is to do this Google practice form, just like you did last week with databases. This is the website address, bit.ly/citations Walden. This is going to give you some practice in citing some websites and looking specifically for those missing pieces of information. As always, I am happy to help you guys. Please message me on Teams or email me if you have questions about doing this Google form, or if you need help citing any of your sources, or if you need help finding sources. So anytime along you need help with this research project, please let me know because I am happy to help you guys. All right. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.